Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Silo by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We're back with Season 2, Episode 6, titled Barricades. And I mentioned this in the instant reaction, which, by the way, Zach, welcome back. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I am. I'm still recovering from being sick a little bit. I got my voice back today.
You just totally made your voice sound more sick than it was pre-call.
No, I'm talking louder. I was like whispering earlier.
Okay.
But no, I'm still getting over being sick. So I apologize. I might be a little fuzzy on some names. It's probably just the drugs talking. But
listen, man.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to join in this one. It was a good episode. Good filler.
Get off the codeine. All right.
Come on, man. That's the fun stuff, right?
And the styrofoam cup stuff that you're drinking from. All right. This is a small budding podcast network we have here. Okay. Are you mixing alcohol with NyQuil?
No, bro. It's unsweet tea.
Okay. I was about to say, like, you're literally Lil Wayne now. Anyways, we're a small budding podcast network and we don't offer PTO like that. So, get your ass in
But
gear.
with your help, maybe one day we can.
You sound like Bernie Sanders. I am once again asking you for money. Anyways, I mentioned in the instant reaction, which, by the way, I missed, the dialogue.
Yeah, I listened to it though. I did. I liked it.
You liked it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
This episode made us look like geniuses, man. A lot of our predictions came true. Specifically, my Lucas Kyle sort of.
Oh yeah, it was phenomenal.
Shot in the dark. Did I make that a bet? I should have made it a bet.
I don't think you made it a bet. I will double check, but I don't think so. But no, it was definitely right on point. It happened very abruptly. I was not quite expecting that, to be completely honest.
He was like, all right, I need to know this. You're the shadow. So it means
unfortunately, it wasn't a bet. Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, it is what it is. But the audience knows. Also, I mean, we pretty much predicted that nothing would happen for the most part in this episode, which,
for the most part, nothing did.
This is like some key chess moves took place. If you ever played like a RTS or like a Sid Meier's Civilization.
What's an RTS?
Real-time strategy, I think. I don't know. Don't quote me. This is the episode where you're moving, you're flanking, you're bringing all your military pieces around your ally who you've been sending spies into their country and sowing webs and lies and deceit in their country just to take over their resources. That's what is happening in this episode. All the troops are around the barricades. Knox had his little thing. And yeah. We were also right about the Knox and Shirley romantic escapade.
Yeah. It feels a little forced. I don't quite love that. And I think the one thing, I mean, to me, like it does not feel like a natural combo for some reason.
I kind of saw it coming for a long time.
I mean, we've been commenting about it for a couple of episodes, but it just, I thought Shirley liked
women.
Well, what's her name? I told you I was going to start spacing on names. Juliette.
I still think, I don't know if that card's out the, I don't know if that's out the stable.
You never know.
I don't know.
You never know.
I don't know.
Well, I think one thing that we actually maybe did get wrong, and I'm glad we did get it wrong, is that this episode was not focused on Juliette lying in bed recovering for like 3 weeks.
They probably filmed it though. They probably filmed it and went to post, and they were like,
I'm so glad it did not make it through to the final edit, because I could like this episode overall, it was a little shorter than most, right? Like 44-minute roughly runtime.
I don't know, I can't see it, but you have it pulled up.
I mean, if you cut off like the trailer and whatnot, the credits is about 40 minutes or so. Okay. So it was a little shorter. But yeah, no, I'm super glad there's just a little bit of a focus on Juliette towards the end of the episode. It was done well. Didn't drag on like I thought it was going to.
Yeah, we can look like geniuses again when I say that she's probably not going to go back to Silo 18 through up top, through the surface. She's probably going to drain the silo. Okay? I think this was my theory at the end. I don't think I mentioned this in the IR, and I don't even know if I wrote this down. I don't even think I wrote this down. So you're getting this like straight out the dome. I don't know how it came back to me, but this was my theory. She's probably going to drain the silo. She's probably going to save Solo. Okay. She's going to go back to 18. Because think about it. That whole plan to flood the silo, that's probably like up next in Bernard's playbook if it comes down to it. It's at a certain point, that's probably in the cards, right? So Juliette gets there right in time, and like Moses, she parts the waters back to Silo 17 and, saves her people, let my people go. And she's going to bring them to Silo 17, and then that would be a great leave off, like just cliffhanger. We end the season with this new civilization budding in Silo 17 that's now free and finding the truth and seeking the truth, It
would be very interesting, but I don't know that if she was able to bring people from Silo 18 over to Silo 17, I don't think there would be much of an opposition inside of Silo 17 to make it very compelling. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there's going to be that internal conflict like we do have with Silo 18.
No, you need to introduce a new antagonist, which we all know that there's got to be an antagonist above Bernard, right? It's just a matter of what that is. Gotta be. What threat becomes comes to the forefront, really, to take us to the finish line.
Yeah, I have no idea. But, I think we were talking about this earlier in the season as well. Like, there was talks of her going back to Silo 18, but not going above ground. Like, I thought she was going to swim down under the water and, like, find her way into this big old cave that, we saw at the beginning of season 1. Maybe there's still room for that. I don't know. Maybe when she drains Silo 17, she finds a passageway to this cave. This like empty. I want to call it a mine, but it can't be the mine. I still don't know where the freaking mine is.
See the mines, man. We will never see them.
I want to know where the mine is. Like, I want to know what Lucas went through. Like, there's
for a day.
Lucas. I mean, I feel like Lucas might die. Well, no, I don't know. I don't feel confident betting on that
Lucas
or anything.
Lucas is your new. He's going bad, bro. He's going to the dark side.
We have like zero backstory from this guy. Not a lot. I mean, like, we've seen more about him stargazing than anything in season 1. And here we are, season 2, like, he's supposed to be struggling. I haven't seen this dude break a sweat, like, at all. So I don't know, man. But no, it was interesting. It was a very strategic move, in my opinion, from Bernard, though, to make him his shadow. I respect it. What's the phrase? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Like, I think he realizes that, Lucas is a very, very intelligent human being.
It's a valuable asset. Yeah. I mean, I think he won over Bernard. Bernard is impressed by impressive people, right? So he saw this guy who has pretty much no formal education in the stuff that Bernard knows, right? And he's seeing him discover these methods of decryption that he's coming up with, like the Caesar shift that Bernard says, what you're doing right now is called the Caesar shift. And he's like, it's a long story, and he's seeing this guy do these things. And maybe he's even, I don't know if he knows about the conversation Meadows had with him.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he does. I don't remember if Meadows told Bernard, but it seems like right off the bat, okay, here's a guy who will do anything for Bernard at this point because he doesn't want to go back to the mines.
Yeah.
But now I wonder, as Shadow, is he immune to being sent back to the mines, or could he still be sent back? Is that threat still strong?
I think even being the Shadow, you could be punished in any way that the head of IT sees fit. I mean,
Sims was removed from Shadow,
Sims was sentenced to be judge and was a drunk and lived in her own hell. Sims is also sentenced to be the judge. So, wow, that's 2 for 2. Well, I guess 2 for 3 now. Bernard's Shadow is becoming judge.
Yeah, and one of the things in this episode, which I wrote down as he was talking to the corpse bride, Meadows.
The only emotional moment we got from Bernard too, by the way.
Well, he's falling apart at the seams right now, in some sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never seen him unsure of himself, and now he's questioning pretty much everything he's doing because he killed his one true love, and he's listening to this order that he's never really questioned before, that he's never he's never gone through something like this, and now he's scared to be the guy that screws up the future of the silo. He is scared that this is going to be the end, and it's going to be on his watch, and it's going to be through a failure of his own leadership.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? Every single step he takes to try and figure out what, I guess, what this encryption is a step towards him, you know, questioning this authority that he's never questioned before. So he really is like this is a very serious thing for Bernard. Like his entire life, I don't think he's ever once questioned the order or questioned the pact.
And it's a shame it took him having to kill Meadows to do this. You know, these are things that he probably could have done without having to kill her, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there could have been a way out of that whole impeachment sham that Sims was trying to throw at Meadows, and Bernard just didn't see it, you know? And that's why he did what he did.
I think Meadows' way was potentially the way out. Like I was on board with Meadows' plan. It felt very politically, I don't know, intelligent. Like it felt like it satisfied the most people.
Very cunning. Yeah.
Very balanced.
Yeah.
Versus like, you know, Bernard's move here, just like always pitting the silo against the down deep. I mean, it basically you're just trying to, you know, configure a battle that's a sure win. Like, sorry, they can never win because it's a few floors.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where what I mentioned about I think I mentioned what Meadows said to Bernard a couple episodes ago, where she said that he's gonna have to think outside the order.
Yeah.
You know, and that was her solution, was something outside the order. And Bernard couldn't really think that way. You know, he chose that book over Meadows.
Yeah. You know, I know you mentioned you didn't catch that Salvador Quinn was the past head of IT, but
and my cousin hit me up and he's like, I don't remember that at all. But then
again, I swear that came up. It came up in episode 4 because I wrote it down specifically. Salvador Quinn was the head of IT 140 years ago during the last rebellion.
The head of IT, and I know they mentioned that again in this episode, which is interesting. I think I wrote a note about that. Let me see if I can find it here. Salvador Quinn. Maybe I didn't. My notes suck for this episode.
My notes are blank. I just wrote the title down when we started recording this because I was just out. I watched this over the weekend and
maybe it was,
I was like,
that was from last episode, not this episode, right? That they mentioned him being head of IT?
No, it was 2 episodes ago, episode 4.
Head of IT.
Wait, no, yeah, 2 episodes ago, because this is episode 6. So it was episode 4, the harmonium. It was during Meadows' final meal. They were talking about Salvador Quinn and him being the head of IT many years ago.
We're gonna find out soon, whatever it is, because the urgency with which Bernard is moving to find out what this means is, I think he's also doing it because he thinks maybe they might march him out there and hang his ass pretty soon. I mean, I think he wants to find out before things go completely haywire. And maybe whatever he finds out from decrypting this might change his approach to how he's dealing with matters inside the silo, and maybe it saves everything. But that remains to be seen what happens there, because now he has a complicated standoff with Mechanical, and he has this sort of political game going on with Sims and, more importantly, Camille, it seems. And the Lucas card of making him Shadow might have been the unknowing defense, like maybe one of the better moves that Bernard made, because he had no idea about the information that Sims withheld from him in this episode, which I do think it was the right move for Sims to do, which was Diego's snitch of an aunt who essentially ratted out the whole Mechanical operation that they were going to cut through the concrete and the floors, which, by the way, I'm sorry, but how have we not cut through the concrete before to make staircases to other things? If that tool exists, you're telling me nobody thought, like, I want to have a 2-story home, or hey, I worked in the black market, I would like to be able to transport this other than through the main spiral staircase.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, especially given the fact that these silos have been here for possibly centuries. I mean, we at least know over 140 years. It is rather surprising because it's not like this is new technology to my understanding. Like, I think the world is clearly pretty advanced.
Yeah.
And I mean, these tools have had to have been down there, been in the silo since the beginning of the silo. So it is a little surprising.
Yeah. Agreed. We haven't really talked much about that, but Bernard's whole thing here is that he's going to do a siege pretty much of the Down Deep and starve them to death. He's even gone as far as contaminating their food with rat poison. And so that's what leads us to finding out what Knox requested from the guy. What's that guy's name again from the blacksmith shop?
Oh, I don't remember what his name was, but yeah, I was just going to bring that up. We finally found out what he asked for.
Yeah, he asked for weapons, which makes you wrong about the whole device that flew up.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I wonder where that's coming from. Though.
Possibly. That might still be in the cards, but it was weapons, which is funny because he goes from saying, don't make weapons, and then he says, but then I have something to ask you. So he went from, don't make weapons, but I got a personal favor to ask you. Make me a lot of weapons. You know, and what's Knox's game here? I've always said that I feel like Knox, maybe he's not all on the up and up. Maybe he's playing for a power play, but I feel like Shirley was the one who's made to look like she could be a bad leader, but maybe Knox secretly is. We don't know yet.
You think Knox is a bad leader, is like incapable? Or
no,
I
think he's
like
I think he's a good leader. I just think that maybe he wants. There's been a couple moments where I'm like, maybe he wants a lot of power. Maybe he wants a good amount of power. Because think about it. At first he was against Shirley, and then he kind of pulled her aside and said, hey, I'm actually for you. You know, but you're doing it the wrong way. So he's kind of duplicitous in his own sense, right? So I do wonder what else his motives might be for wanting to lead a rebellion. I wonder where that ends.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like most people down in the Down Deep, like we're supposed to view as they're the good guys. Like they're the honest, hardworking, like blue collar individuals. I don't know. I don't really have a feeling that Knox is in it for the power. I feel like he's in it because he feels like it's right. And like he knows there's something suspicious, like there's something off that's been going on. I just think maybe he's been a little slow to come around to it. However, knowing that now he's asked for weapons, maybe not. Maybe he's quicker than I thought and gave him credit for.
I don't know. I think it all remains to be seen. By the way, did you catch the most hilarious moment in the entire episode?
Shirley running up the stairs. Yeah, I was dying laughing. It was like I was cringing at that point.
It was cringe, huh? That was a pretty cringe moment.
There's every now and then there's a show, and it's just like, why would you make that creative decision? Like,
they can't win,
I feel like we were supposed to be intimidated.
You can't win them all.
Come on.
It was like you're supposed to hear a crowd of people screaming, and it was just Shirley's isolated audio.
And it was just went on forever. I was like, damn.
I thought it was like
it's a long ass run.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the food. The key thing about this whole Sims withholding information is that now Bernard. I can't wait till episode 7 because now Bernard has to audible here. Like 7 might be the best episode of the season coming up. It might be because. Here's what's going to go down. I think 7 and 8 are going to be bangers, to be honest with you. Because you have Bernard, who's going to probably get the meaning of whatever the message is from Quinn, right? He has to audible quickly now because now Mechanical has a farm, so he can't starve him. You got Juliette, who has to fix the water issue. I think that'll maybe take her 2 episodes, possibly. And then you have just this developing situation with Sims and Kyle and Bernard, right? Because the only play for Sims right now is to freaking go full on coup and depose Bernard and Lucas Kyle, who he doesn't even know yet is the shadow. So he might take out Bernard unknowingly and not know that he already has a guy who's going to replace him, right? And then Lucas will step in as the least prepared overseer ever.
Yeah, I don't know that. A coup does seem pretty plausible. It definitely feels like something Sims, and more specifically his wife, would try to do. I just don't know that that's gonna happen.
What's her game plan,
Yeah.
Zach? What does she get?
Sim's wife?
Yes, a couple people mentioned a couple different things. Is it just for power? Is she a flame keeper? What's up with her son?
I don't think she's a flame keeper.
Bringing it up, what is up with all these things?
It's a lot of good questions. I have not given her son much thought at all because I don't even think we've seen him this season. But no, I ever since season 1, I just felt like she was in it more for the power, and maybe because it might be a mix of power, that, and just like the feeling of like she has a distaste for what Bernard has been doing. Like she feels like it's just morally wrong, the way that he goes about things. But I can't think of anything more specific than that. Do you have anything?
No, that was a horrible answer, Zach. Like horrible podcast answer. You didn't answer a single shred of that question I just asked you.
You're right. I haven't.
I'm not going to let you off the hook. I need you to say what you think she might be, what her game is.
I think she's in it for power. She seems she seems greedy.
Okay, all right. You stand by that. I think she's potentially a flame keeper. I think she could be. I would have to go do research, but there was an episode in season 1 that was like called The Last Flame Keeper.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if that was her debut episode in the show. But if it was, that would be a very sneaky way of slipping it in the title to make you think it's Juliette, but in reality, maybe it's Camille. So it would be pretty interesting if that was the case.
It would be pretty sneaky.
We don't know who her parents are. Maybe her parents are, or her relatives could be Quinn and his wife that he wrote that letter to. We don't know. We have no idea. So, interesting player in the coming episodes. Last thing I kind of want to touch on, the last sort of major point of the episode, is the whole Billings situation, because he was the most interesting character in this episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
We also get a comeback of the whole Billings Nichols duo, but this time it's Kathleen Billings and Pete Nichols who team up and get down to Mechanical to assist in the surgery on Patrick Kennedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was key, and I think that was a ploy to get them down to Mechanical so that they wouldn't be pawns that could be used against the people down low, right?
Yeah.
I feel like in a sense they needed a way to get them down there for the end of the season, which makes me believe that the crap's going to hit the ceiling and maybe they're going to need to leave in some sense. But we'll find out maybe what that is. But
yeah.
But Billings in this episode, sorry, go ahead before I continue.
I was just going to say, like, the whole process of getting his wife and kid down to the down deep, I thought was done very tastefully, because we were talking about this in the I think the last deep dive for episode 5, that there's only so much Billings can do, and I don't think as much, because his wife and son is up top. Like, they would be the first people I would go to if I were Bernard. So I thought it was a very creative way to get them down to the down deep without just making it feel like, oh, we're just bringing them here because Billings has got to do something for us.
Exactly. Yeah, to me, it's going to be one of those things where Juliette returns. It's like a huge uproar in the silo, like, she's alive, oh my God, she's alive. And then Bernard's going to like, flood the down deep, some crap like that. And they're going to be like, get Pete Nichols. We're going to hold Pete Nichols hostage and make her come up top. And he's like, sir, he's in Mechanical, Or Billings, get Billings' wife. We're going to get him back on our side. Oh, she's in Mechanical too. So I feel like that's the reasons, that because they're not pawns anymore. So
yeah, they're not.
They did float out the idea that there could be somebody working with Bernard in Mechanical. That would be the last sort of remaining card for them. But we'll see. That person would be greatly outnumbered. And then lastly, they'll have all the guns. The people up top have all the guns. So they could just kind of march down the stairs with guns and end this crap pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know how much ammo they have, though. It could be.
They don't have to
be a bunch of.
They don't have to go quickly. They could systematically sort of reposition barricades, shoot people, keep on going down, reposition, take certain sections, like section by section, just kind of take things out. Dude, if the guy has a freaking the next gen Apple Vision Pro, I'm assuming they don't have freaking muskets. I'm assuming they got like fully automatic weapons.
Well, I mean, we saw that they've got like semi-auto like handguns and things like that. But my what I was getting at was like, I don't know if they really have any ammo. Like I'm envisioning a scenario where there's like literally like one freaking bullet.
One box.
Like it's like some Barney shit from Andy Griffith's show.
This is not the Stone Ages. They can probably make bullets, if I had to guess. So they have a mysterious mine that creates minerals that are crucial to this silo that we've never seen. So, there's that. Okay,
yeah,
but
there is.
Furthermore, on Billings here, he takes a stand really, and he's not siding with anybody. He's siding with the law. But in siding with the law, Bernard quickly realizes, crap, I also lost my sheriff. And so he cuts radio communication off with Billings, which now puts Billings on the side of mechanical, whether he likes it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But conveniently or coincidentally, he's lost the syndrome, which Kathleen Billings, I'm keep on calling her Kathleen. Please verify that her name is Kathleen.
Yeah, let me double check.
She says, something changed in you, almost like you made a moral choice and so you lost the syndrome. Like you've been living a corrupt life and therefore you now have lost the syndrome because the syndrome was, you know what I mean? So it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
But I think it might be having something more to do with him being down in mechanical rather than anything else. So we'll see.
So at first I thought it was just because there was this comment I think Meadows had made in this season, how like people are not meant to live like this in confined spaces. And there's like a moment I thought, well, maybe it was just because he actually traveled and he was moving around and like, wasn't locked into this, I don't know, few floors that he lived and worked on. But then I kind of thought like maybe he had the syndrome more because he wasn't corrupt, but he saw the faultiness in what everybody was doing and just like was going against his own ideals, his own moral belief. And now he's doing what he actually truly feels and believes is right. And he's at peace with himself. Like maybe he had the syndrome because he was just internally battling himself with everything that he saw and had to do.
Maybe he had the syndrome because he was internally fighting what he had to do. I don't buy it because he never knew that this was necessarily the truth,
No, he didn't know it was the truth. But I mean, if you're like at moral conflict with yourself because you don't have to know the full truth to feel like something might be wrong. Like it could be this just like instinctual thing.
My whole point was that he had no idea that it wasn't right. So unless you're telling me that this truth, that the silo's not right, is intuitive for them, and that's how the syndrome developed, I don't know. I need more explanation.
Not intuitive, but this guy, okay, this guy was working in judicial.
Judicial, yeah.
How many things has judicial had to do, like freaking go kill people and frame people up?
Yeah, but he didn't know about that.
Okay, he didn't know about that one instance, but he worked in judicial. I'm sure there's things that he had to do in judicial that he felt was not good. If you worked on a police force, if you worked on a police force and your lieutenant or whatever told you had to go like shoot somebody, well, I mean, I don't know if it's right or wrong. I mean, there must be a good reason for it, but you might still feel this moral quandary of like, well, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah. So the whole theory is clean conscience, no more syndrome. That's it.
That's what I think.
And what about Meadows' theory about the reason people have the syndrome is because they're not meant to live in silos?
I think it's plausible too. I think that could make you go freaking nuts.
So, who knows?
I just find it crazy that like
maybe it's like a placebo thing. He thinks they told him he has it. He thinks he has it, but he's been so busy that he stopped thinking about it, so he doesn't have it. I don't know.
Also a possibility. I think they're both plausible, but I felt like it was more of just like, look, he he knows he's doing the right thing, or really truly believes he's doing the right thing now, and is just not at conflict with himself. That's the way that I kind of read that.
That's the way I'm like leaning strongly towards. It's the thing that makes the most sense with Billings, but yeah.
You know, I think the lamest, actually the lamest part of this episode for me.
What?
You also mentioned it in the instant reaction, but I was so let down from it in this episode.
Oh, okay, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, it was when Patrick Kennedy told his story. Like, I'm like, bro, that's all you got.
Lamest story
I can't
ever.
even describe it. He's like,
I can't even describe what I saw. It's
exactly
10 times nicer than whatever you had on that paper.
Yeah.
He doesn't even talk like that.
This will change your life. I know, you just turn him into like the reddest of rednecks. Yeah. But no, it was such a letdown. I was really hoping to get like some tidbit of information I didn't already know.
The only thing useful there was that Sims framed Kennedy, and it was behind the whole firebomb thing that killed Coop. But I do wonder if there's going to be any repercussion about him telling him about how it's nicer than the Blue Ridge Parkway outside right now with the Jane Carmody cleaning. Like, I wonder if that lie amounts to Billings making a critical mistake.
I think it could. I mean, look, Juliette believed it until she saw the reality outside after she was already outside. So it is a very risky piece of information to be out in the public eye, which I understand why they took it off all the cameras. Because that definitely, if everybody saw that, I feel like you're going to want to go outside. Of course. It's beautiful. There's things in the air that fly. Yeah. Why not? Anyways.
Yeah. I think that covers just about everything. You want to think like we can go into categories, what we think's going to happen next episode, but I feel like we already talked about everything we think might happen next episode.
Yeah, let's get in the categories. I think we covered everything we possibly can for this episode at the moment. So let's start with favorite character of the episode. You named it earlier. I don't think I'm going to disagree with you.
Billings, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I thought that was... I thought he was great. I thought about giving it to Lucas. I just can't. Something about that guy. Favorite scene of the episode?
Favorite scene? Any scene with Lucas Kyle doing the decrypting stuff I found fascinating. Him and Bernard interacting to me was like the highlight of the last two episodes.
It was interesting. I personally, I liked seeing Billings stick it to Bernard. I thought that was fun. Very pivotal moment for him and his character and the storyline in this episode. Finally, how about favorite line of the episode?
Oh, brother. Here we go with the lines. Probably Billings when he says, don't quote me, but he says something like, I'm on no one's side. I'm on the law side. You know, he says something like that.
Yeah. Paraphrasing. Good. My favorite line was actually from Bernard. It was, only 9 missed meals separate a functioning society from chaos.
That's a great one. That is a great one.
It was solid. Well, yeah. I mean, good episode, dude. Honestly, like, I feel like it's rare that I experience a filler build-up episode that I thoroughly enjoy. And I think this went well.
I agree, man. I agree. Well,
sweet.
Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. We hope you're enjoying our Silo coverage so far. If you are, make sure to like this episode. Make sure to leave us a review. And if you'd like to email us, you can do so at contact@soapbox.house. And to all of you out there, we're recording this on Monday, December 23rd. So it's the day before Christmas Eve. So I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas Eve, Feliz Nochebuena, and Merry Christmas. And Happy Boxing Day. I think that's a thing in the UK. What is Boxing Day? What is Boxing Day?
Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, I believe. Right? It's
yeah. Happy Boxing Day in the UK.
Yeah. Well, everything Mario said in all the languages he said. Merry Christmas. We'll catch you. I think we got one more coming up before we get into the new year.
Yep.
At least one more episode of Silo that we'll be covering. So we'll catch you on our next couple of episodes to round out the year, and hope to catch y'all in 2025.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a good one. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Peace.